yesterday in the live class that today we will be trying to finish the remaining portion of the story Leaving the Valley by Malala Yousafzai. Okay, so before starting the new portion, let's just remember very briefly that what we have learned from the previous portion. So what did we read? That after Taliban took over the valley and they imposed those wrong rules or notions that girls cannot go to school and all those things, what happened? And their violence, the violence that they were creating, that was also growing day by day. So the people living in that particular valley, they were almost forced to leave the valley in order to save their life. And Malala's family was one of those families who had to flee, leaving all their belongings behind, their native land behind. Okay, so that is a pathetic situation, you understand, because people were dying as well. Okay, you can see if you have gone through the story properly, the portion that we have already discussed, if you have gone through the portion properly, you have come to know that about one person Malala has mentioned in her story that the relative of her father's friend, he died in the gunfire. Okay, he was shot to death. So people were dying. So I hope you can imagine how much violent the situation was. So they were escaping not willingly. They wanted to save their life. That's why those people were leaving all those things behind. And they were living with a heavy heart. Obviously, nobody would leave their house with a happy heart. This is known to all. Now let's see what happens after that. And they took lift of other people, Dr. Afzal and the neighbor. Safina's father put his foot on the pedal and away we drove out of the small world of our street, home and school and into the unknown. So from known to a journey from known to an unknown world. They never knew whether they would be able to come back to the same place again or not. Okay, we did not know if we would ever see our town again. The streets were jam-packed. So the streets were crowded. Why? What do you think? Why were the streets crowded? Because the violence was growing day by day, and not only Malala's family. There were lots of families, such families who had to leave their native land behind, who had to leave their belongings, house and everything behind. They were leaving the place. That's why lots of cars, rickshaws and other vehicles were there on the street, and those streets were jam-packed, fully crowded, overcrowded you may say. Okay, there was no space almost. I had never seen them so busy before. So the streets had never been this much busy. There were cars everywhere, as well as rickshaws, mule carts and trucks laden with people and their belongings. Mule, an animal, an offspring of horse and donkey. Okay, those things were there, and other types of vehicles, rickshaws and trucks laden with people and belongings. People were sitting somehow in a very short space. Lots of people were sitting in the truck with their belongings. Okay. Thousands of people were living with just the clothes they had on their back, because they could not afford to take all their personal things, all the things which were valuable for them, because there was no space. They did not know where they were going, so what would they do with all those things? At first the people will try to save their life, then the other things. So at that moment of crisis, they could not afford to bring all those special things. They simply carried the necessary things. It felt as if the whole valley was on the move. When Malala was observing the crowded streets, She was feeling like this much crowd I have never seen before, as if the whole valley, all the people of the valley are leaving this place together. Few people knew where they were going, they just knew they had to leave. Everybody knew that I have to leave this place in order to save my life. Only few people knew about their destiny, and other people, they did not know where they had to go. They simply knew that wherever we may go, but not this place. Anywhere we can go, but not this place. This was the biggest exodus in Pashtun history. Go through the meanings provided in your book, and even after that, if you find that there are other words which seem to be alien to you, I mean you don't know the meanings of those words, please consult a dictionary. That's a healthy habit. I have been telling this repeatedly, but I don't know, most of the students are not practicing this habit. Consult a dictionary. I will be there. I am not escaping anywhere. Okay. So I will be there to help you. Even after consulting a dictionary, taking the help of a dictionary, if you can't understand anything, you ask me. I will be there to help you. But you yourself should try to find out the meaning. In that way, you will be able to remember that for a long time. Anyway, what was I saying? Exodus. See, the meaning has been given. Large number of people leaving a place together. So mass departure, you can say. So before this time, Malala at least had never seen a greater exodus, a greater mass departure. The road was heaving with traffic. It was too crowded. It was a long, slow journey. In that much crowd, how to be fast? You cannot drive fast. So it was a long and slow journey, and we were all very sweaty, very natural, crammed in together. Already we know that people were somehow managing themselves along with their belongings in a very short space, and the roads were even crowded, so they were sweating. It was a very congested kind of atmosphere, and they were in a very little space, they were managing themselves together. Usually, car journeys are an adventure for us children, as we rarely go anywhere. So, for children, whenever they were supposed to go somewhere by car, they used to be excited. Okay, this is going to be an adventurous journey. But this time, even the children knew that we are not going for an adventure, going for an adventurous journey. This was something else. They were leaving everything with a heavy heart. So this time the car journey, it was not a journey full of excitement. Rather, it was a journey full of sadness, full of melancholy. Right? Everyone was depressed, very, very unhappy. Finally, we got through the mountain pass and left Swat behind. It was late afternoon by the time we reached Mardan. My father kept insisting, in a few days we will return. Everything will be fine. But we knew that was not true. So this father, he was trying to keep everybody mentally strong. That's why he was constantly uttering the words of hope. Words full of hope, that don't worry, everybody would be back within a few days, because everything is going to be alright. Just a matter of few days, and again the same old days we are going to get back. Actually, the father was trying to keep everybody strong, but everyone knew that no, it was not going to happen so easily. Okay, everybody knew that fact. We were planning to make our way to Shangla, our family village. So far we had driven in the opposite direction, but we had to take the only lift we could to get out of Swat. So they were going to Shangla, their family village. But the way they were going, riding that car, that was exact the opposite direction, but there was no other option, because they were taking lift, and taking leave, they were going to that direction, and that was the only leave that they could get during that time. And the main purpose, the main motto was to leave Swat. That was the first and foremost motto, and after that they would somehow manage something to reach their destination. So even if they knew that they were going to opposite direction, they took the lift and left Swat behind. After that they would think and manage something. Okay. My father then left us to go to Peshawar and alert people to what was happening. So Malala's father, he had some other duties. He had to go to Peshawar and to alert people to what was happening. So he was leaving the family behind, and not leaving the family behind, actually he was going to somewhere else. And what was that place? Peshawar. He promised to meet us later. The next day we met up with my cousin Khanji, who was going to Besham, from where we would go to Shangla, their destination. The names of the place and the people, these things are important. The timings and all these things, these are important. From this particular text you can get hundreds of short questions, and obviously other things are important. It was not easy to get from Besham to our village, and we had to walk 25 kilometers carrying all our things. So they had to walk such a long distance to reach from Besham to Shangla, and not they had to carry the belongings as well. Those belongings definitely had a certain weight they had to carry, so it was not easy. At one point we were stopped by the army, who told us we could go no farther and must turn back because there was violence created by the Taliban everywhere. Army people, armies, the soldiers, they were on duty. Curfew was there, nobody was allowed to roam around, no vehicles were allowed to go into the streets without any reason, and obviously checkpoints were there where army people were checking everybody, who are they, from where they have come, where are they going. All these things were being checked because of the situation, because it was a very sensitive situation, right? So army people, they stopped them that you cannot cross this border because you are not allowed to go that side. Okay. Our home is in Shangla. Where will we go? We begged. They were helpless. They had to cross that path to reach Shangla. My grandmother started crying. Finally, they let us through. Ultimately, they were convinced and they allowed them to go. The army and their machine guns were everywhere. I told you how sensitive the situation was, and the army people, the soldiers, they were roaming around to check everybody, to check the situation, to keep the situation under control, and they were carrying guns. Because of the curfew and the checkpoints, there was not one other vehicle on the road that didn't belong to the military. So as the curfew was going on, people were not allowed to roam around. Vehicles were not allowed to roam around except the vehicle and people belonging to the army. Okay, only their people and their vehicles were going here and there to keep the situation under control. We were afraid that the army wouldn't know who we were and would shoot us. They were trying to control the Taliban people, but as it was a very sensitive and chaotic situation, maybe sometimes what happens that people are misunderstood. This was Malala's family, but maybe some people of army, they misunderstood them, and they might think that, okay, these are the Taliban people in disguise, so let's shoot them. It happens. During war it happens. Innocent people are also get killed. Okay, you cannot do anything in that case. So they were afraid because such cases could happen. We stayed in my mother's village, Karshad, with my uncle. So Karshad is a small place in Pakistan only. with my uncle Fayaz Muhammad and his family, maternal uncle. I was happy to be with my cousin Sumbul, ultimately a friend, or at last a partner she could get. So obviously in that much, in that sad situation, in that unhappy condition, a little ray of happiness. Who is a year older than me. Once we were settled, okay, after a few days when they were settled there, I started going to school with her. I was in year 6 but started in year 7. So she was actually in 6th standard, but she started in again there in 7th standard because Sumbul was reading in 7th standard. It took over half an hour to walk to school, long distance. My uncle gave me pocket money to buy snacks at school. They sold cucumber and watermelon, not sweets and crisps like in Mingora. Now again Malala is being nostalgic. She remembers the sweet, crisp cucumber and watermelon that were sold in her native land Mingora. Here also she can get the same fruits, but not that much tasty, not that much fun. Okay, so she is being nostalgic. Oh, my mistake. Just a second, let me check whether the video is getting recorded or not. Okay, that's my biggest fear. Okay, one day at school there was a parents' day and prize giving ceremony. I read a poem about working hard to achieve your heart's desires. This is a very general idea. This is a fact that if you are dreaming about something, if you are having a particular desire to get something, to achieve something, you simply cannot just walk to it and can achieve it. You have to work hard. You have to struggle a lot. You have to overcome the obstacles that will come in your way, in order to achieve your aim, in order to achieve your goal. Based on this particular notion, Malala delivered a speech. Malala read a poem. A diamond must be cut many times before it yields even a tiny jewel, I said. So this is a part of her poem, that a diamond must be cut many times before it yields means produces even a tiny jewel. When we go to a shop, if we go to a shop, whatever jewelry it is, maybe made of diamond, maybe made of gold, particularly here she is talking about diamond. Diamond are, we say no, 6 cut diamond, that, this cut diamond, that cut diamond, those terms are there. Okay. So when we are buying a jewelry made of diamond, okay, this is very nice, but do you think when the diamond was taken out of the meal or whatever it is, it was like that only? No, obviously no. From the raw material, the people had to do a lot of things to give it the shape of that ring or whatever has been designed to be fit in that particular jewelry. Simply just someone took it out and simply used it in that jewelry. No, it's not that case. So the diamond itself has to undergo a lot of processes, a lot of cuts in order to be used, in order to produce a tiny jewelry. And this particular process is applied in case of human beings as well. We want to achieve something big, we want to achieve, big, small, doesn't matter, we want to achieve our own dream. For that purpose, we have to undergo a lot of processes, a lot of struggles, a lot of things. Okay, this is the similarity, this is the comparison. Alright, if you can't understand, I have tried to explain. If you have understood, very good. If you can't, then do remind me in the live class that ma'am, please explain again. It was nice being with my cousins, but I missed books. Okay, so being with cousins, okay, it was still a happy situation, but Malala was missing her books. I kept thinking of my school bag that was left behind, I hope you remember, at home with copies of Oliver Twist, a novel by Charles Dickens, and Romeo and Juliet, a drama by Shakespeare, waiting to be read. So she had those books, and those were lying in her home that she left behind, and those were there in her school bag which she had to leave behind. But now we were living our own drama. So our life has become a drama now. Now I can't afford, most probably Malala is thinking that now probably I can't afford to read someone else's drama, because my own life has become a drama, right? We had been so happy, then something very bad had come into our lives, and we were now waiting for happy ending. So we were living happily, we were so happy, we had been living so nicely, then something happened, and we are in this much pathetic situation, and here we are living our life, a life full of melancholy, full of sadness, full of uncertainty, and here we are also waiting for something good to happen. We are expecting a happy ending someday. After we had been in Shangla for about 6 weeks, my father said we could travel to Peshawar. So the father of Malala, he was there in Peshawar, and he contacted the family and told them that now you can come to me in Peshawar. It was very emotional to see him again after a long time. 6 weeks, it was a long time, so it was very emotional to see him again. Then a complete family once more. Before that the father was not there, he was in Peshawar, and the remaining family was here in the maternal uncle's house. But again they would be meeting, there would be the whole family. We travelled down to Islamabad, and then we went to Haripur, where one of my aunts lived. It was our 4th city in 2 months. Nobody would like to travel this much. And they were not traveling willingly, they were kind of escaping from here to there. I knew we were better off than those who lived in the camps, queuing for food and water for hours under the hot sun, but I missed my valley. Okay, lots of people, we have already learned that lots of people, almost the whole valley, left the valley behind. They had to escape. Malala's family, they were depressed because they had to leave the belongings behind, but Malala knew that they were even in a better situation than the people who had nowhere to go, and they were living in the camps, and they were making lines in order to get some food and water under the sun. They were getting burnt. Okay, they were getting baked under the sun. Just for a little food and water, they had to make a long line living in the camp in order to save their life. So obviously Malala's family was in a far better situation, but even after knowing all these things, Malala could not stop missing her Swat Valley. It was there I spent my 12th birthday. Nobody remembered. I was upset and recalled how different my 11th birthday had been. So 11th birthday, that was celebrated there, and now this 12th one, no one remembered. I had shared a cake with my friends on 11th birthday. There were balloons, and I had made the same wish I was making on my 12th birthday, but this time there was no cake and there were no candles to blow out. So on this 12th birthday as well, she was making the same wish that she made on 11th birthday, but only that wish was similar, other things were different. On 11th birthday she was happy. She was living peacefully in Swat Valley, and she was distributing cake among her friends. There were balloons. The moments were full of happiness. But now on this 12th birthday, only the wish remains same. Other than that, nothing remains so happy. No cake, no candles to blow out. Once again, I wished for peace in our valley. So on her 11th birthday as well, I think the situation was growing violent day by day, but on the 12th birthday it was out of control. So on 11th birthday as well, she wished for peace to be revived in their valley, and on this birthday as well she made the same wish, but this time the situation was out of control. Okay, this much in your book, this much has been provided in your book, and it's an adapted story from I Am Malala by Malala Yousafzai. I have already told that this is an autobiography written about Malala by Malala. Okay, I hope you have understood the concept. No study material is there. At first we will discuss the things in live class, then I will be providing the question answers. But if you are following the worksheets, you should follow the worksheets. If you are following the worksheets, you know that not only the questions belonging to the exercise worksheets of the book, those are important, but some other questions are also important. So you have to go through the text properly. All ready-made answers may not be provided. You have to grow your idea, you have to grow your concept regarding the text. If you face any query, any problem, I will be there to help you. So feel free to ask me in the live class. Okay, bye bye everyone.